Hey everyone, Matt here from Docs Running, and today we're going to do a 60-mile review of the Diadora Corsa. So this is Diadora's lightweight training shoe. It's new to their line and coming in at $155. It's actually a great deal because this is the best Diadora shoe that I have run in thus far. I have had high hopes for the company, but there's always been something a little bit off. A little bit too narrow, which is very classic for their shoes. The uppers take time to break in, kind of like Italian shoes. You just got to like break in the leather. It's not leather. Or sometimes a little bit too short. Some of the foams have really not been exciting. I've been really kind of frustrated. They don't do a lot of heel bevels right now, so heel transitions have been super clunky, and a lot of their shoes have been pretty heavy. This is the first time where everything has just clicked, and they have dialed this shoe in very, very well. So my goal is not to sell you this shoe, but to educate you about it and also talk about some interesting things that are being done in this shoe, but also across the industry that you should be aware of from a biomechanics standpoint. Do I know exactly where these are coming from? No, but you need to know this because it may or may not be affecting you. So as always, we're going to start out with specs in my men's size 10. I'm measuring this at 8.6 ounces or about 242 grams, which is great because it actually puts it right in the mix with a lot of the other lightweight trainers on there. And I did a lightweight trainer video. I might put this up in that list of top shoes because it's been really nice, light, not the lightest out there, but it's got this new, not new foam, but the surprising foam that we'll talk about that I didn't expect it to be that material because it feels so great. Stack height wise, coming in 39 millimeters in the heel, 31 in the forefoot for an 8 millimeter drop, although it feels taller than that. It feels more traditional. Feels like your 10, almost 12 millimeter drop shoe, which has been really nice as I'm working through my Achilles stuff, and it's been great to offload that and extremely comfortable. Doesn't get in the way because what's nice is they finally have a decent heel bevel, and this midsole is soft enough that it compresses and is really, really smooth. So heel bevel, really nice transition. When you see a lot of people split the heel like this, and sometimes it's angled in different ways, what's really nice about this is it creates a little bit of spread. This can make things a little bit more stable, which is nice. What's also nice, because most people land at the posterior lateral section, it allows the posterior lateral side to compress a little bit more, so it almost creates a little more stable base for someone like me. Those who have some lateral instabilities, you got to be a little careful with that. For those of us that do well, it does really well. You also notice this slight posterior lateral bevel, really nice. Now, what's interesting about Anima N2 is that it's really nice and soft. If you told me, I would have been like, this is maybe like a PEBA blend or like a nitrogen-fused foam, but it's an EVA foam. And it's been some of the new foaming technologies in there, but it's really nice, softer, but has some bounce to it. It's not the bounciest thing I've ever put on, but it's really nice, comfortable, compresses well, is both compliant, has a nice touch of resiliency with some bounce in it. I've done a couple workouts and they've done fairly well. It's not the fastest shoe. It is definitely more of a training shoe than a like racing shoe for sure, although I'm sure someone could race a marathon in this. I would not. But it's got a nice little bit of bounce. It's comfortable for long runs, for easy runs, for some up-tempo workout. It's really, really nice. But it is EVA, and what's great is it's actually lasting really well. I have 60 miles on my pair. For those wondering, here's the outsole. It's still holding up fairly well. We're getting a little early wear there, so just be aware that I haven't clipped this off yet, but there is somewhere, so it's not the most durable thing on the market in terms of the outsole, but midsole's holding up really, really well. Very nice balance cushioning, where a lot of Diodoras have been felt like not responsive enough or just not quite as soft as I would have expected for these foams. Doing really well, and part of that's also the geometry that makes it really smooth. Now, when you get to the forefoot, it's not plated. There is some flexibility here. It's a taller stack height shoe, so no, you're going to need to have some toe mobility, but a nice forefoot rocker that transitions you really, really well. And this is a neutral shoe. Yes, it's wider base, so it doesn't taper as much as other shoes. You can see kind of this central guidance line here that allows the lateral side to compress a little bit more. You can see how wide this thing is, and there's also a medial extension on this side that makes things a little bit more stable. But Andrea brought this up, and I was like, why is this shoe working so well for me? It should be neutral. Obviously, some sidewalls in the rear foot, nothing major in the midfoot. But what's interesting is, like a lot of shoes, and I talked about this, the forefoot rocker is biased just a little bit laterally, okay? And so for someone like me, when you land, you are supposed to be able to pronate. Your foot needs to collapse medially. When you toe off, it's normal to supinate. When you supinate or go off in this direction, going the other kind of more lateral, your foot actually locks up because of a more rigid lever, so your calf and plantar flexors can help push you forward. It's more efficient to push off a rigid lever than a flexible one. You want a more flexible one when you're landing to shock absorb. Now, this is great for someone like me who collapses a little bit medially, but it also creates this like almost medial wedge feeling for Andrea, who is just noticing she's getting pivoted off a little bit to that direction. So she really likes to be able to pivot off the first toe to be able to power through that. I like being a little extra facilitated laterally. So be aware, if you're someone that needs to get off that medial first toe, this may not be the best option for you. For those that want that little bit of extra guidance laterally, it actually might work really, really well. So interesting sole, got some bounce, can do up-tempo workouts, does long runs really, really well, does easy runs really well, on the softer side with a little bit of resilience, but very comfortable and very cushioned in a great way, and it's holding up really well. Upper is not normal Diodora. I would say it does fit a little bit long. This is the first time I've had a shoe from them that fit long, and it has plenty of room. It kind of looks long and narrow, but I've had, with slightly long fit, I had plenty of room to move my toes. Upper kind of gets a little bit wider into the heel and midfoot, but it's very easy to lock down. Tongue is gusseted, so it's very secure. A good amount of padding in the rear foot. Even though you see it kind of curve inward, it splits nicely around the Achilles and hasn't bothered me at all. Just know the heel counter is really stiff. There's a good amount of padding there that offsets this, but like many of these shoes recently, heel counter doesn't come all the way up, so it doesn't bother Achilles as much. So really, really nice in that regard. What is weird though, is I kept checking the sizing to be like, there's no way this is a 10. Like this has to be a 10.5. And actually, the sizing is different. So usually across the board, I am a men's UK 9.5 and a Japan 28. And I know this because I bought so many shoes from Japan for so long that there wasn't US sizing, so I'd have to figure out what was it. I'm 28 almost all the time. In this shoe, it's 27.5 and 9 in UK and Japanese sizing, and size 10 for US. But there's some variation where, hey, this may fit a little bit long for you. And that sizing, when you go sometimes from some of the European brands, can be a little bit different. So just be aware that sizing may be a little bit weird. You may want to try this before you buy it. If everything is sounding good, cool, I would still really encourage you to find a place where you can have return shipping or try it on in person, just because sizing a little different, you can tell just the differences in how it's listed, where it's like, yeah, but it's been super comfortable. Really awesome inner liner, really comfortable if you like sockless running, which I don't always suggest, but it's been very comfortable for me. And then it's very secure and locks the foot in well. Just have to tie the laces a little bit tight in the midfoot. But outside of that, it's really nice. Haven't had any issues except for the slightly long fit, but thank goodness, because I would wonder if I might be a little bit too tapered. But other than that, this has been a really good and surprising shoe. I'm pretty impressed overall that they've got a foam. It's EVA, it's kind of like Mizuno, who blew my mind. They're doing the similar thing where it's like really nice and cushioned, a little bit of bounce, and just an excellent do-it-all shoe. And that's my bias because I really like lightweight trainers. Some interesting biomechanical things with like heel sidewalls, wider sole, a little bit of lateral guidance in the forefoot for those that need it, and then finally doing a bevel, which probably also contributes to the shoe feeling a little softer, because geometry, if it's clunky, can make a shoe feel firmer and not as comfortable and not as smooth. You get a geometry like this, it's going to improve the transition, it's going to improve the compression, compliance, and sometimes maybe a little resilience. So yeah, I'm curious, have you tried Diodora shoes before? If you've seen this, what do you think about it? Do you agree or disagree on any of my takes? Please comment below, because it will help other people figure out what works and what doesn't work for them. Because like I said, the goal is not to sell stuff to you, it's to help educate you on what may or may not work for you, so you can figure out what does work for you. Get out there, run, stay healthy, and enjoy, and make this a little more simple.